Hello and welcome to Battleground Bihar. We are at Patna College to discuss the ongoing Bihar election. The Bihar election has become a prestige battle for the BJP and its Prime Minister Narendra Modi. After getting a severe drubbing in Delhi election, it is important for BJP to re-establish Prime Minister Modi as the election mascot by winning the Bihar election. It is also important for them to win the Bihar election to teach a lesson to Mr. Nitish Kumar, who they think made use of the BJP for 7.5 years and after that abandoned them to project himself as an alternative to Mr. Modi in the 2014 general election. This election is important also to Mr. Nitish Kumar, Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav and Sonia Gandhi. If their grand alliance wins Bihar, then it would be a signal that the non-BJP opposition parties are back in the political game. Whichever way the Bihar election goes, it will change politics not only in Patna, but will also have impact in New Delhi. To discuss the ongoing Bihar election, I have with me three eminent intellectuals from Patna. I have with me Rai Atul Krishna, Deputy Resident Editor of Hindustan Times, an astute political commentator and an old friend of mine. He's a familiar figure on Rajya Sabha TV. We have with us Mr. D.N. Gautam, former DGP of Police in Bihar. And we have with us Justice Rajendra Prasad, a former High Court judge at Patna and also a member at one time of the Human Rights Commission of Bihar. I welcome all of you to this discussion. Atul, let me begin with you. Have the campaign strategies of the two main adversaries, the BJP-led National Democratic Alliance and the Grand Alliance of the JDU, RJD and Congress, have they changed after two phases of the election?
I would believe that some fine-tuning has taken place, but the basic agenda for the two formations remains largely the same. Like, for example, the Grand Alliance is posturing itself on two fronts: Nitish Kumar's performance as Chief Minister and Lalu Prasad Yadav's Mandal play. Similarly, the NDA pitch is development and good governance. They are sticking to that, but as they get feedback from the first two rounds, there is some evidence that they are fine-tuning that strategy.
In what way are they fine-tuning?
Like, for example, there was this criticism of the Grand Alliance that the NDA has no candidate to project for the Chief Minister post in Bihar, and that Mr. Modi could not be expected to serve as Chief Minister. So what they are doing is, after the second round, they have brought out posters projecting, state-level leaders also, as possible, to give them some exposure, a little more exposure than happened in the first two rounds, to send out the message that we have many alternatives.
Mr. Gautam, what has been the impact of BJP first reducing the number of rallies that the Prime Minister was going to hold, and when there was public criticism that this means BJP is given up, they've enhanced the number of rallies. So what kind of signal has gone to the people?
First thing, there has been very good response to Prime Minister's rallies. A greater response than any other leader conversing in the Bihar elections. Yes, when the Prime Minister's rally were for Buxar and on the 16th were cancelled, people tried to send some kind of a message that they were, because they wanted to recede Mr. Modi to the background for a fear of any particular blame for setback. Well, but these are political posturing. I guess it may have been more on account of ethical issue of not holding rallies on a nearby constituency when the neighboring constituency is going to poll. The Election Commission had allowed the rally in the first phase, but I'm sure as responsible people, they must have thought that it was not the right thing to do. But yes, confusion was created, a signal did go. How people read the signal is really not known, because it is the leaders doing it by themselves.
Justice Prasad, when the BJP began its campaign here, Prime Minister Modi emphasized on development. Then suddenly you find that development took a back seat and beef became a big issue. Prime Minister made it an issue indirectly. some other people made it directly outside Bihar, but hoping that will impact Bihar. Now suddenly one finds that beef has gone into the background and development is back again. Now why is this?
You have already heard Mr. Roy and Gautam on other two issues, but actually the development issues raised by Mr. Modi had been accepted, welcomed also, but today what is mindset of people as well as the leaders, leaders are interested to come in power by hook or crook, by just promulgating a theory and whatever it may be, sometimes Garib Hatao, sometimes development. So of course development, India needs development, Bihar needs development, but later the statements of that of DNA, that of beef, or that of reservation and all these things, it of course just affected, just polluted, diluted the minds of persons, because they are not so much, now our voters, electorates are not in a position to take decision himself. They always change their decision on the basis of statements of others.
So you're basically saying that political leaders are trying to manipulate the minds of voters rather than actually sticking to the development agenda.
Right after the independence, it is a fact, The leaders are more interested to come in power than to keep the interests of the mass in the center. Otherwise, if all of them wants development of India, why not they should come together and think for the development of India,
Okay.
That is the fact. Nobody is ready to state all these things. You'll have to state it, They are interpreting their statements, The statements was, of course, development. We need development, After independence, we need it. But there was, of course, a slogan of development.
So they're doing nothing new. So let me take on the beef issue itself. Do you think this issue of beef eating or attitude to beef didn't work, didn't divide the Yadavs, for example, because Prime Minister was addressing Yaduvanshis, as he said. Because in Bihar, caste takes precedence over religion. And as far as consolidation of upper caste votes was concerned, they were always with the BJP.
Beef issue had a limited utility. Lalu Yadav had made a statement. He had said, Hindus eat beef. Now that was taken as an opportunity by the BJP leadership to pin him down on that score.
But he was right, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes do eat beef and they're part of the Hindu family.
That is not the public discourse. Whether they do or they don't, the message was meant for Yadav. Yadavs as a class don't eat beef, at least not in Bihar.
Yeah. So why did it not work?
No, whether it worked or not, we don't know. But after a while, they left this issue suggesting that whatever utility it had run its course, and there was no further thing to be said on that issue.
Okay. Mr. Gautam, earlier Atul talked about BJP projecting some local leaders, but right in the beginning, the BJP did not project a CM candidate, largely because they didn't have a CM candidate. They had 20 people who want to be chief ministers, and they would be infighting. And none of them could stand up to Nitish Kumar. So therefore, only Prime Minister Modi was projected. So do you think they did the wise thing, first by projecting Mr. Modi, and now saying there are others also in the fray?
They are not exactly projecting Mr. Modi. They are projecting his leadership.
Yes.
And the gap between the central leadership and the state leadership. Now this transition they could not work out in the minds of the people. That how his aura is going to descend down to the local leaders. Another point I would like to add is, it has been the great tragedy of Indian democracy that we have been pinning too much on individuals. We have not matured yet. Because democracy is supposed to throw up leaders. If I give you a chance to rule Bihar, I am very sure you will be able to rule it very commendably and competently. So it's question of some leader has been tried and tested. People will put a store in that. There is a tendency. But tried and tested is always past. What future holds, nobody knows.
Yeah.
it should not stop people from trying.
Yeah. So Justice Prasad, tell me this. How come the BJP has not been able to produce somebody who they could confidently project as Chief Minister of Bihar?
Of course, this is such a question that the leaders of BJP must know it, because perhaps there may be one ground that at Delhi, by projecting Kiran Bedi, the BJP had to reap the consequences. That may be count. This is the human mind, you know, in what manner human mind functions. So they speculate, they apprehend, but ultimately absolute is above logics. Under their own logics, they have not given a just candidate of CM here. They should have given, but they had all the fears that if he projects a particular person of a particular caste, the voters will divide. Okay. Again, if he brings some forwards, the backwards will not follow him. Okay. So all these hidden things are there. Yeah. So if your mind, you are not absolute, you don't keep the very justice in the center, very interest of the mass in the center, then all these things will happen. You know, India is not today what it was before independence. India is not today what it was just after independence. Only in the year 1965, some other party came in the state and all these things. All the governments used to be of Congress. Why? Because our voters believed in that, relied upon that. But the voters, you know, nowadays, mindset is polluted. Our intelligence is also polluted. We depend upon logics and all, but that never functions.
Okay, so now quickly, I want to ask you, are people happy when BJP leaders project, you know, one day they project Prem Kumar as Chief Minister, next day Rameshwar Chaurasia, in another phase they will say Rajendra Singh, by the time we go in the fifth phase they will talk about Shahnawaz Hussain. Are they happy with this? And would they be happy if, like Haryana, Mr. Modi, you know, out of his hat produces a rabbit called Amal Khattar and says he will be your Chief Minister?
There are two parts to the question. I'll answer both if you'll just give me time. One is that these leaders whose names you see coming up are not being projected by people, they are being projected by themselves. You know, I remember Mr. Prem Kumar feeling that he's being left around, wrote a long this thing on Facebook saying why he's best suited. Sushil Modi has a fan club which has many followers who are projecting. So you see, they are all projecting themselves. The central leadership has not given any clue who it wants. Okay. But it will decide on that factor depending on how many seats they get in Bihar.
All right.
If there is a thin majority, they will their hands will be tied. Yes. But if it's a big majority, they will do what they have done in Haryana. This is my feeling. They will bring out something who's theirs ideologically.
Okay. All right. We need to take a break at this point. We'll be back again with this interesting discussion in a bit. Stay with us.
साहित्य में एक आला मकाम, डोगरी की पहली कवियत्री।
हिंदी साड़ी दादी है ते डोगरी है माँ, दादी थार दादी है ते माऊ थार माँ। कि हिंदी हमारी दादी है तो डोगरी हमारी माँ है।
इंसानियत है जिनका मजहब।
भगवान ने ऊपर से हमें नीचे भेजा, तब उसने ये बनाकर नहीं भेजा कि ये हिंदू है और ये मुसलमान है।
मिलिए शख्सियत में मशहूर मारूफ साहित्यकार पद्मा सचदेव से शनिवार रात 10:30 बजे और रविवार सुबह 11 बजे सिर्फ राज्यसभा टीवी पर।
Welcome back. We're discussing the ongoing election in Bihar. Mr. Gautam, how damaging to the BJP's prospects have been the repeated statements of RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat that reservations need to be reviewed?
Oh yes, very good question. In fact, he energized the Mahagathbandhan. Mahagathbandhan was floundering for some issue. They were trying to how the caste divide should be made deeper and deeper, how forward, backward should be. So they were just at a loss. And Mohan Bhagwat provided just the right impetus and then repeated it. Then he came all the way to Gorakhpur to say it again. I wonder why he didn't come to Patna. He has been a non-playing captain of a sort. For which team I don't know. So that has made a difference.
Okay. Justice Prasad, this is the impact Bhagwat's statements had on the Mahagathbandhan, the Grand Alliance. But surely what he said also could have had an impact on the forward-backward alliance that the BJP has put together with Mr. Kushwaha and with Mr. Manjhi. Has it impacted their alliance also when you talk against reservation or talk about reviewing reservation?
Of course, I don't think, because NDA together wants to come in power, so they will not take care whether what the Bhagwat said or not, in what manner this will impact reservation and all, because they are together. All Kushwaha, Ramvilas and all these things, they will not mind it.
Rather, but their voters might mind, their supporters might mind.
Their voters are quite different thing, you know. The voters also, you know, today, the people, I have already told you that our electors are not incapable to take their own decisions. They follow. Not in this, everywhere you see, people's following Asaram, people's following Nirmal Baba, all these things. These are our mindset. Unless you have got a good mindset, then I don't think that the voters of Ramvilas...
So basically what you're saying is people are not thinking rationally and they don't think independently.
Definitely. They are not, they have not capacity to think that.
Okay.
They have not in the center of interest of India. But they anyhow wants to capture a post, a power and all these things. Because of that, all these things are happening. Absolute is absolute.
Okay. Now, Atul, after the first two phases of voting, what is your assessment? Who is at a relative advantage, the NDA or the Grand Alliance?
It's impossible to call. And I say this because, not just because both sides are claiming that they have a very, very definite edge, but also because there is nothing, because there is nobody such as an honest broker in this election, seemingly. Because what people are writing, you know, often gives me the impression that they have been inclined towards one side or the other for whatever reason they may. What I can, if I have to stick my neck out, what I will say is, in the first phase, on 12th October, I think it's the Mahagathbandhan may have had a slight edge, but in the second phase, I think the BJP-led NDA.
Okay, since we are on various phases, what do you think will happen in the third, fourth and fifth phase? Who will be at an advantage?
In third phase, I think that is the strongest phase for the NDA, not just by the seats in the 2010 elections, and in the 2014 Lok Sabha election, of course, they swept all these districts. And in the fourth phase, I think it's more evenly balanced. But fifth phase may be tilted towards the Mahagathbandhan, going by the Lok Sabha result, because that is the only area in which the BJP lost despite the Narendra Modi wave.
So basically neck to neck. Mr. Gautam, in the first two phases, there was a very high percentage of women proportionately voting in this election. Now, the Grand Alliance says this is because of what Nitish has done for women, 50% reservation in panchayats, you know, gifting a bicycle to the girl child, you know, if they complete school, you know, so that they can continue their studies. Has that vote been in favor of Nitish? Because the NDA says that is women have come out in large numbers to protest against Nitish because of his new excise policy. He's opened liquor shops in every village, and people are getting drunk, and you know, husbands and sons are spending money on alcohol, and that they're voting against him. And that they're voting against the possibility of Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav exercising control over the government. Who is right?
My guess is that women have family first issue. That means their own security, security of their children, and as you rightly said, their husband drinking habits. On these three issues, they will have grouge against Mahagathbandhan. And I would tend to guess that the larger turnout for women is a turnout for change. They would not like their troubles to get repeated. They won't like their children to be jeopardized as far as security is concerned, because nobody wants to relive those days waiting for their kid to come back safe from school. So I would guess that women are going decisively for India.
Justice Prasad, to what extent has Mr. Nitish Kumar's campaign strategy of asking people to choose between a Bihari and a Bahari, an outsider. Has that worked?
You have put just a very question, difficult question, which is difficult to be answered, you know. But in one line, I'll say there is no question of Bahari Bhitri. We are all Indians. You talk of India, you talk of unity in diversity, but when you will go on talking like this, then what will happen, you know? This question is very difficult, you know.
Yeah.
We are all Indians, you know. So India as a whole.
That's an idealistic position. Let me take it to a more practical political commentator. Bihari versus Bahari. Did it work? Will it work?
Mr. Nitish Kumar especially tried very hard on it,
Yeah.
but I have my doubts whether it worked very well. Because you see, had it worked so well, why would the Mahagathbandhan rely so heavily on caste and mandal? You see, a lot of Biharis work outside Bihar, and they find their pot of gold, their El Dorado elsewhere. Why is Bahari such a bad thing? I mean, even the most deficient of Biharis would know that Narendra Modi is not going to come and become the chief minister. So I don't think it can work.
Okay. Mr. Gautam, do you see a scenario where there is no clear verdict but a hung assembly, and you have, Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav and Mr. Pappu Yadav winning, say, about 15 seats or 16 seats and becoming kingmakers?
My own estimate will be that people are going to give a clear majority to whomsoever they may give.
Yeah.
These days, the tendency is to give good majority, elect a government, so that they can rule for 5 years. But in an outside chance of such kind of a fractured mandate, it's going to lead to chaos, because nobody would like a midterm poll. So they will all cobble together, crawl together, maximize their benefits for next 5 years,
Yeah.
rob Bihar,
Yeah.
and the poverty of Bihar will be further deepened.
Okay.
The gangs will be having very nice time. So I only wish and pray that such day should not
So
come.
it's your hope, not an
It's my
assessment,
hope.
It's your hope. Okay, Justice Prasad, is there a youth vote in Bihar? Earlier you said that we should think beyond caste, we should think as Indians. So do you find the younger generation thinking beyond being a Yadav or a Kurmi or a Koiri or a Bhumihar or a Brahmin, and voting across caste lines, deciding on where public interest lies?
It always happens in Bihar, voting on caste lines.
Yeah.
Because it has been seen here, when a person of particular caste comes in power, he is seen favoring the caste men of his own caste and all. It has been a fact. So this activities of the leaders induces voters to favor the caste, own caste.
Irrespective of their age.
Yes, of course.
So a youngster who's gone to college, who's working in Delhi, Bombay, wherever.
Youngsters, of course, they have changed some mind and all, but still they are less in number, you know.
Yeah.
I come from the village. You go in the village, in what manner they will change their mind, even at the last moment, at the time just pushing the button, they change its mind. But the thing is that when a man of particular caste comes in power, he starts favoring his own persons, own caste men.
Yeah.
So this induces others, influences others to vote his own caste men.
Okay, but you had a different point of view.
Yeah, youth is moving forward. Even in the so-called caste-ridden psych, there is a age differential. Maybe the elderly might go to some person who they are familiar with. And generally they are familiar with the caste equations. But I think it's getting diluted by day, and youth, they have different concern. They look towards future. Caste is past, and they are not going to bother about caste. They will certainly vote for the best candidate.
Well, I hope so. Huh? Sorry?
You may find change in youths and all.
Okay.
But there are more majority of persons
Are
who
towards
always
caste.
take that thing. When my caste will come in power, I will get some benefit.
Okay.
And it is happening.
Okay, my last question really. Now we'll go away from caste and let's hope caste is really past, although there are enough skeptics here. Now, why is Bihar such a prestige battle for BJP and for Narendra Modi? What would happen to Narendra Modi or the BJP if they lose Bihar?
It's a very, very critical election for Narendra Modi as much as it is for the likes of Sonia Gandhi, Lalu Prasad and Nitish Kumar. You see, it's
Who has more to lose?
I think the Mahagathbandhan has more to lose, because after their virtual effacement in the Lok Sabha election, if they lose another one badly, they will be out of politics for next many years. And many of these people are in their mid or late 60s. When will the opportunity come if the Narendra Modi government lives its full term? The opportunity would come. But having said that, it's a very, very critical election for Narendra Modi also, because if he loses it, wolves will be at his door in a manner of speaking, because not just his critics without the party, it's the baiters that he has within his own party who are baying for his blood, because they think that he doesn't listen to anybody.
Okay.
So it's a very, very critical election for him to win.
All right. So thank you very much. We've run out of time. I'd like to thank Justice Prasad, B.N. Gautam,
Thank you.
Rai Atul Krishna for coming here and participating in this discussion. That's all we have for you today. Thank you for watching Rajya Sabha TV. Goodbye.